Hello dear students, welcome to Devika's Commerce and Management Academy. Today, very important topic, that is valuation and verification of assets. Only assets we'll see. And when you open your textbook, you may feel very difficult. Oh, so much is there and how can I remember what is this verification, what is this valuation? Nothing to worry. If you just focus on my talk, today's talk, you will understand very easily. Directly you can go and write it in the exam also. Now, easy way to remember and easy way to write how to evaluate, how to verify the assets and liability, that I am going to discuss today. So, nothing to worry. What you have to do is here, first of all, assets you have to remember. Do you know balance sheet? In balance sheet, we generally write it on the asset side. Current assets, fixed assets, fictitious assets, intangible assets, right? So, these 4 assets remember. Now, I will tell you how to go for verification and valuation. Next step. Now, assets are divided into verification and valuation of assets. Assets are divided into 4 parts. First one is intangible assets, which is not visible. Second one, fixed assets. You know that fixed assets, machinery, furniture, land, and fixed assets like building. So, all these things. Okay. Next, current assets. Current assets also you know very well. Those assets we say it as a floating assets also, and a fictitious asset. It's created, fictitious, which is not visible. So, these are the 4 assets, remember, 4 parts. Now, each and every part will discuss how to verify and how to evaluate these assets. First thing is that intangible assets. Intangible assets are 4 types. One is goodwill, patents, trademarks and copyrights. 4 intangible assets. Intangible means which is not tangible, which is not visible, but it is an asset for the organization. The first one is that goodwill. Goodwill is the name and fame, a kind of recognition, a kind of good impression over the organization by the customers. That is goodwill we say. Now, goodwill, how do we evaluate this goodwill? There are different methods for valuation of goodwill. In advanced accountancy, if you see the playlist advanced accountancy, there is a chapter valuation of goodwill. So, in that chapter I have covered how to evaluate the goodwill. Now, when it comes to the verification and valuation of goodwill, the auditor must be very careful. What is the calculation of goodwill, which method they are following, what is the company's reputation, that also should be considered, and method of valuation of goodwill he has to see, and according to that what is the goodwill value. And when it comes to the purchasing of company or purchasing of something from other company, then it comes to the purchasing of another company, means goodwill also you are going to buy it. So, how much you have paid to buy that goodwill. So, that is also another thing. So, for all these things they have to verify, auditor has to verify very carefully that the company reputation, the company value, and what is the amount they have paid. If suppose purchased from someone, what is the amount they have paid to purchase that asset, purchase that company from that company. So, that also calculation. So, all this calculation has to verify it. And once if you verify it, the valuation also very easy. Verification is over, valuation according to the verification, valuation it comes. So, like this you can go for the valuation and verification of goodwill. In the same way, next one, patents. What is the meaning of patents? Patents means rights on invention. I have invented something. I have invented new product. So, this is my invention or my company invention. That we say it as a patents. I have patent right. Okay. So, for that patent right also, that is also we say it as an asset. My patent right, I am going to give it to someone to use it. Then I get lots of amount. I get some remuneration. So, that is why we say it as a asset, patents. Now, how do we calculate this? How do we verify this patent? Mainly for that, there is a certificate will be given to you. If I have invented something, so you have to submit it to the particular case, particular place. There you are going to get a certificate. This is the invention by so and so. So, with that certificate, patent certificate, then you can just go ahead. So that patent certification verification you have to go ahead, and suppose this is, if it is invented by you, then certificate verify, and if it is invented by someone and you are purchasing that patent, then you have to see the purchase deed. In purchase deed it will be very clearly mentioned that so and so patent I am purchasing, and so and so amount paid. That amount can be lump sum paid or otherwise yearly, like it's like installment basis, and some years they can pay, means lump sum they will pay some amount and rest of the amount in installments. So it can be, there are many methods. So that is to be verified by the auditor. Registration and purchasing of this patent, from where they have purchased, if it is not invented by the company. And patent value also, sometimes it will be increasing or decreasing as per the market, as per the demand, the value will be increasing or decreasing. So that is also to be checked by the auditor. Next thing, it comes to trademark. Trademark means this company is having separate identity. Some company is having some logo, some trademark. So with this, the company is selling all the products. For example, Procter and Gamble company or Hindustan Lever Limited company you can take. So they have lots of products. For every product, their trademark is that this product is from Hindustan Lever Limited. In the same way, Tata products, many products are there. So for every product, Tata product this is, right? So that is trademark. So this is a distinctive sign of every company. Now how do you verify this? For this also, trademark, there is an agreement from registration office. Trademark, whenever you get a trademark, there is a registration office. So there you are going to get agreement. The trademark agreement has to be verified by the auditor. If it is verified, well and good. And in any kind of changes, if he finds this trademark is related to someone and it is not related to the company, then that is confusing case. So that is to be brought into the knowledge of the client, or else he has to mention it in the end of the time when he submits the audit report. There he has to mention it. Like trademark value also, sometimes according to the market, according to the demand, according to the consumer taste, the trademark value also, it will be increasing or decreasing. So that is also to be verified. Next thing is that copyrights. This is also not visible. Copyright, we say it as intangible asset. Copyright means whenever someone has published any book, on that book only he is having the copyright. Means copyrights only the author is having. Suppose say I want to buy that copyrights, then what to do? Consult the publisher and take the permission, and at what rate the copyrights are available, then talking to the author directly and purchasing it. So whenever you are taking the such kind of copyrights, that is also copyright from publisher, that has to be checked. And what is the amount paid? Agreement, voucher or some proof will be the written proof, that is also to be checked. So like this, intangible assets can be checked. Okay, in the same way, now coming to the fixed assets. Fixed assets, main thing is that land and building. Land and building, we can say it in two parts. First one is that freehold property and leasehold property. Freehold property means that is absolutely the company's only. The company is not depending on someone. The company is having the rights. The company is having the total ownership. So that is freehold property. So freehold property, whenever company is having, how do you verify? As an auditor, just think it in general also you can answer. It's not that bookish language, you have to read the book only. Freehold property company is having, means some property company is having. How do you verify? First thing is that physical verification is required. The auditor has to go to that freehold property and he has to check the properties there or not. Then second thing is that, is it on the name of the company proprietor, company client or not? This second point. Then third point is that value. How do you value this? So for valuation, they have to, the auditor has to be very careful that at what rate he has purchased first of all. Then after that, fourth point, it comes to how to value at present. Purchased, okay, that documents, everything is checked, ownership is there, everything is fine. Now how do you value it? There are different methods, as we have seen in the last class. What is the method we wanted to implement according to the present scenario? So that is to be done. With that, verification and valuation is completed from the freehold property. Next one, it comes to leasehold property. Sometimes the company may be taking some property on lease basis. Verification is very simple. For leasehold property, always lease agreement will be there. So the auditor has to focus on the first leasehold. Where is the marker? The auditor has to focus on the agreement. So leasehold agreement he has to check. So as per that agreement, the lease is for how many years? How many years is the lease? Then every year how much has to pay? And in leasehold agreement, who are the parties? Two parties will be there. One is the party who is giving the property on lease. Another one is that who is taking the property on lease, means client. So both the names he has to verify. Okay, and how many years? Every year how much they have to pay, and later on that, so that can be verified with the balance sheet. If he understands this agreement and mode of payment and how many years, this concept if he understands, it's very easy to verify this leasehold property. Okay, so that's about land and building. Second thing, it comes to buildings. So land and buildings, it separately we are talking about building. Separately, building means you know that it is a very big asset and which should be verified very carefully by the auditor. For calculation of verification of building, as we know that first of all, verification of building, who have purchased it, it is on whose name, documents, registration papers, so that everything has to check. Then after that, valuation of valuation of building. So for valuation of building also, at what rate they have purchased, and are they providing any kind of depreciation? So depreciation amount also that has to be deducted, and market value and what value he wanted to conclude it, that also he has to consider. That is building. Third one, it comes to plant and machinery. Plant and machinery also in the same way. Physical verification is important for the auditor. First of all, physical verification. Plant and machinery, how many plant and machineries are there in the company, that number and where it is located, and how many are there, so that everything he has to verify it first. Suppose say 10 are there machines, 10 machines are available or not, checked it. Then after that, valuation part it comes. Before valuation only, you have to check the ownership also, who have purchased it, it is on whose name, how the payment has made. In depth, slowly he has to enter into the concept. If everything verification is over, then it comes to the valuation part. For valuation part, first of all, the auditor has to check that what is the original cost of this plant and machinery, what is the original cost, and how do we want to value, what is the methodology the company is following. Like we have discussed in the last class, different methods are there, which method they are following. According to their method, what is the present value of this plant and machinery. If they are providing depreciation, then that comes to book value method, and are they following which method. So all these things he has to consider, then it comes to the valuation of the plant and machinery also. That's it about the intangible assets and fixed assets. Next we will see current assets, or you can say it as a floating assets. There are mainly three kinds of current assets. Many as current assets are there, but anyway we have to focus on these three. One is cash in hand, cash at bank, and debtors. Easy to remember. Cash in hand, how do you verify this cash in hand? Each items, especially cash receipts and cash payments, everything if properly verified, then automatically cash in hand will come to know. Generally every month they will be preparing this cash book. Did you remember single column cash book, double column, triple column cash book? Every month they will be preparing this cash book. So every month as per the calculations, as per the payments, as per the receipts at the end of the year. Suppose if they are following calendar year, Jan to December. December month, what is the cash in hand, means closing cash. So that will be here opening cash of this year. So that has to be verified. For this they have to be very careful about each payment and each receipt. So that's about the cash in hand. And at the same time cash at bank. For cash at bank also they have to be very careful how many transactions are there from the bank point of view, means how much they are receiving through the bank and how they are paying through the bank, payments through the check and receiving through the bank. So this has to be checked, verified clearly by the auditor, proof with documents, payment something is done, then how they have paid, voucher, some proof, some document which is required. So with that verification they can just go ahead for the cash at bank. And at the same time the auditor has to be very careful about the cash book and bank passbook. So checking, cross checking. While cross checking, if he finds any kind of differences, then he has to be careful about the BRS, bank reconciliation statement. Where requirement is there, he has to check even the BRS also, how the differences has come, where it is entered, where it is ignored. So that we know that BRS. So that also he has to be very careful, these two. Then after that it comes to debtors. Who are the debtors? When company is selling goods on credit basis, to whom they are selling the goods on credit basis, they are the sundry debtors. Right now you are selling goods on credit basis, but after some period you are going to get back the amount. You are going to get back, that is why we consider it as assets. Say for example, the company has sold goods to 4 parties, say A, B, C, D, 4 parties, 4 people. A, B, C, D are the debtors of the company. Now when it comes to the verification, the auditor has to be very careful who are the debtors. Who are the debtors? So debtors are A, B, C, D. List he has to take first, and after taking the list, then how much amount is there, how much amount they have paid already, and this can be checked with the sales also, total sales. Say sales are total say 8 crore. 8 crore are the total sales. To check this sundry debtors, focus on the 8 crores. Is it a cash sales? No. Suppose it is only 6 crores are cash. Cash is 6 crore, 6 CR. And it is understood that rest of the 2 crore. So rest of the 2 crore is credit. 2 crore are credit. So there he can calculate it like this. He can just verify it. Who are the debtors? How much is the amount? How much is the amount? Total amount of the debtors? How much is paid? How much is to be payable? And how much is the bad debts? Totally entire, once if he entered into that transaction, he has to verify in depth. So that's about the sundry debtors. Okay, and valuation anyway it comes to know very clearly. So these are the 3 current assets, or you can say it as a floating assets. Last one is that fictitious assets. Fictitious assets means generally, so these are not visible, but it is an asset, means the payment or the mode of methodology and all these things which are considered as the asset only. Example like the discount and debtors also we consider it as a fictitious asset, and mainly the preliminary expenses which we consider it as fictitious asset. What is this preliminary expenses? Especially at the time of registration, the company registration, at that time if the company has to pay some expenses like just like stamp duty and registration fee, so these are all we consider it as fictitious expenses. Fictitious means that is preliminary expenses for the company purpose only. These are not general expenses. for the company registration purpose point of view whenever they are spending it. So that is preliminary expenses. How do you verify it? Simply you have to see that expenses whatever you have paid, in that you will find that list. So that list you can check it out, or otherwise, or else you can go for miscellaneous expenses. There it might be mentioned these kind of transactions, very clear, but it's not so big transaction, big deal to check and verify, but anyway it's a part of the asset, so the auditor has to check. Am I clear? Nothing to worry, only you have to remember these. Assets are 4 parts. Intangible assets. What are the intangible assets? 4. Goodwill, so patents, trademarks, copyright. Then it comes to the fixed assets. Fixed assets, land and building, or you can say it as, here you can add even buildings, or you can say furniture also. Furniture, plant and machinery. Okay, next, current assets are floating asset, cash in hand, cash at bank, and debtors, sundry debtors, fictitious asset, preliminary expenses, just small explanation. Enough, that's it. Am I clear? Examination point of view, you may expect 90 to 95% you can expect this question. So don't ignore it. Follow this. First take the screenshot or note down. The next class will discuss about verification and valuation of liabilities. That is also important. These two are important, verification and valuation of assets and liabilities. Stay connected, check out the playlist. There are many subjects which already covered. Still many students are confused. What is covered and what is their syllabus? Please be genius, be smart in searching your subject. Then after that use it, study well, refer your textbook also, and don't refer our channel to someone who is struggling to learn the subject, because everything is free of cost. I am not charging anything. I want the student community not to struggle. Whatever possibility is there, I am giving the best of my knowledge. Stay connected. So share these videos, study well, have a bright career. Good luck. See you.